You're way higher on Ole Miss than I think I am. I like Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy high on Ole Miss. Their over-under is 8.5 this season. They finally got over the hump last year and beat Georgia.
They did.
They beat South Carolina. They lost to Florida, LSU, and Kentucky. The Kentucky one, I'm still scratching my head over. But alas, a 10-3 campaign. Okay. This is a changing of the guard in a sense. They lost a lot from last year's team, especially on defense. There was a bit of an exodus with regard to star power. So the obvious question, I think, is, can Pete Golding, can that defense find a way to perform at a very high level, despite the fact that they are losing a lot, particularly in the secondary? It's going to be a very transfer-dependent secondary this year. I think that turnover on defense, combined with an offensive line that we saw struggle in a lot of short yardage situations last year, this is the equation that we start looking at when we're talking about close games.
Right.
And it's a theme that has come up over and over and over again throughout the course of these previews, Dan.
Yes.
How do you get better in close games? How do you get better in close games?
You grow a pair.
Well, growing a pair, yeah. I don't know what the formula is for that exactly. But that's, I think, what I'm getting at here when I look at Ole Miss, and something that I look at what they've got now, and I worry a little bit about that. Now, you're pretty high on this team.
I am.
You're really high on this team. Tell me why. Build the case for Ole Miss this season.
There's no pressure on Ole Miss this year in the way that there was last year, right? The conversation with Ole Miss last year was like chips into the middle of the table, right? That, bringing back Jackson Dart, bringing in guys like Walter Nolan, bringing in the receiver, like there was enough there that you're just like, man, this is playoff or bust. Didn't work out, but it was still on paper, and the way they beat Georgia and the way that offense and defense were just over the course of the season, maybe the best team in the SEC at their best, which obviously is a meaningless compliment, but that they really were able to solve a lot of what ailed them in years past. And so they took a step forward, even though the final season result wasn't there. Now, so many guys are gone, right? That Austin Simmons is stepping in, that they've got, Harrison Wallace coming in from Penn State and DeJon Stribling from Oklahoma State are the new receivers. It's Logan Diggs, once again, still in college.
Still in college, man.
Notre Dame, LSU, Ole Miss, right, was beat up.
Still doing the thing.
That, the offensive line experience isn't there. There's interesting defensive players up front. Secondary is basically all transfer guys. That they're like my baby rattlesnake, even though I think that theory was debunked, that the venom of baby rattlesnakes is more potent. I just think they've got like a nothing to lose thing this year, that there's so much pressure on so many of the teams on the Ole Miss schedule, right? Sam Pittman, hanging by a thread. We'll see on Tulane. They should be better than Tulane. LSU has a ton of pressure. Brian Kelly has a ton of pressure on him. Georgia on the road, they won that game last year, so there's less pressure on them this year, if that makes any sense. Brent Venables, ton of pressure, bringing in John Mateer and Eric Arbuckle. Or is it Eric Arbuckle, right?
Ben Arbuckle.
I don't know why I keep calling him Eric. Ben Arbuckle at Oklahoma. I don't know. I think there's a weight on a lot of these teams. The Florida game was terribly last year. South Carolina's so many new things, so many places. And even though the rivalry game in the Egg Bowl is on the road, starting point for Ole Miss is still better than Mississippi State. I don't know. I just think they're going to be looser this year, and Lane Kiffin's going to be going for things in a way maybe he wasn't last year. So call it a vibes call from me with Ole Miss. I think I really like Austin Simmons. I think he's got a gun. Like, I don't know, man.
Those six passing attempts against Georgia last year left you enchanted.
He got in and immediately led them on a touchdown drive, Ty.
He did.
What could he do with the full season?
I like him. Look, I like him a lot.
Austin Simmons, when leading a meaningful drive, I think has a 100% touchdown rate against good teams. So I think it's going to be really fun. Like they could go 9-3, 10-2, 8-4. Like, it's all on the table, of course. It's a vibes call from me that the Portal King is going to just have a really fun year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Austin Simmons has all SEC caliber potential.
Sure. Can move. Yeah.
Good mobility. He's got a very strong arm, and I think he's going to have a really good receiver room around him. Remember, they bring over Luke Haas from Arkansas. Caden Lee, dynamic in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Dejon Stribling, from Oklahoma State, Trey Wallace from Penn State. I think that can be a very, very good receiver room.
Yep.
I'm encouraged by what the Portal King has done. I do want to see what the offensive line can do. It was not a strength last season. They did not get much of a push. Short yardage was a significant weakness for this team.
Sure.
They need to improve there. Full stop. All the other stuff can be very exciting, but I got to see what they can do up front.
Yep. And they still had a top 15 offense. Yeah.
Absolutely. Defensively, 10 of like their best players are gone.
Details.
Okay. The secondary, as I said, very, very transfer dependent.
Yep.
Pete Golding did a really good job. He did do a really good job. They jumped from 23rd to 3rd in defensive SP plus last season. And they were definitely much higher up on the list with regard to sacks. I believe they were first.
Yep.
So I got to see what this defense can do. I got to see if with all the turnover, they can still play at an elite level. I like Suntarine Perkins. That's a great name. Great name out there on the Ole Miss front. 10.5 sacks a year ago, 10 run stops. I think they've got the pieces in place here, but to the earlier point, they might be able to play a little bit looser because I don't know if the expectations are going to be there this year as they were last.
Right.
So I like this team a lot, but I found myself wavering, Dan.
It's
with
okay.
how much do I really like them? To what degree can I see this team truly contending for the SEC? Again, the over-under is 8.5 with Ole Miss this season. The schedule relative to the SEC field here is very manageable.
Mm-hmm.
You've only got 4 road games. You're at Kentucky, you're at Georgia, you're at Oklahoma, you're at Mississippi State.
Yep.
They avoid Alabama, Auburn, Mizzou, Tennessee, and A&M this year. They still have to play, LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Florida, I guess, if you're counting them through. But the crucial stretch for this team is going to be at Georgia, at Oklahoma, home versus South Carolina on October the 18th, October the 25th, and November the 1st. Those 3 games, I think, are going to be the make or break stretch for this Ole Miss squad. Frankly, it's a big shrug for me.
Okay.
I'm lower on them than you. I'm higher on them than I expected. I don't know what the ceiling looks like because I like the talent. It just feels like a lot of unprovens.
Okay. I think it's all fair. I respect everybody's Ole Miss evaluations at this moment because nobody's right. But yeah, it's just a vibes call for me that I like where they appear to be in the pecking order right now.